The rain had been falling over the city of Larkspur for 3 days without stopping. Streets were glossy with water, the sky hung low and gray, and the wind carried the quiet sadness of early autumn. In a small cafe near the river, Emma sat by the window, holding a cup of tea that had long gone cold. She watched people pass by outside. Some ran under umbrellas, some hurried through puddles, and some simply walked slowly as if they had nowhere to be. Emma wondered which kind she was. 3 years ago, everything in her life had felt bright and certain. That was when she met Daniel. They met on a warm summer evening at a music festival in the park. Emma had come with her best friend, mostly to escape her boring routine. Daniel had come alone, carrying a camera and photographing people as they danced. Emma noticed him first, not because he was loud or particularly handsome, but because he looked at the world differently. While everyone else watched the stage, Daniel watched the people. At one point their eyes met. He lifted the camera and asked with a smile, "May I?" Emma laughed nervously but nodded. That photograph became the beginning of everything. Daniel later showed it to her. In the picture she was laughing, hair blowing in the wind, the sunset behind her like fire. Emma had never seen herself look so alive. "That's how you look when you're not trying," Daniel told her. From that moment they were inseparable. They walked for hours through the city, talking about dreams and fears. Daniel wanted to travel the world and photograph stories no one noticed. Emma wanted to become a writer but was too afraid to try. "You see stories everywhere," Daniel once told her. "You just need to believe your voice matters." For the first time in her life, someone believed in her before she believed in herself. Months turned into years. Their tiny apartment filled with books, photographs, and half-finished plans. They were poor, but they laughed often. Until the letter came. Emma found it one afternoon on the kitchen table. A white envelope with Daniel's name on it. At first she thought it was something ordinary, but when Daniel opened it, the room fell silent. It was an invitation from a famous photography organization in another country. They had seen his work online and offered him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel for 2 years documenting cultures around the world. Emma read the letter twice. It was his dream, but dreams sometimes ask terrible prices. "You have to go," she said quietly. Daniel shook his head immediately. "I'm not leaving you." "You are," Emma insisted. "You've been waiting for something like this your whole life. And what about us?" Emma forced a smile, though her chest felt like it was breaking. "We'll survive." But both of them knew the truth. Distance changes people. The weeks before his departure were strange and fragile. They tried to act normal, going to movies, cooking dinner, walking along the river. But every moment carried the quiet awareness that time was running out. On the night before Daniel left, they returned to the park where they first met. The same trees stood there, the same soft lights along the paths. But everything felt different. Daniel held her hands tightly. "I'll come back," he said. Emma nodded. "I know." But inside she wasn't sure. The first months apart were full of messages and long calls. Daniel sent photos from deserts, mountains, and crowded markets. Emma wrote him long emails about her attempts to write stories. At first it felt like their love could stretch across any distance. Then slowly, life began to move. Daniel traveled constantly, meeting new people and living in places Emma had never seen. His messages became shorter, his calls less frequent. Emma tried not to worry. She told herself he was just busy. But silence has a way of growing heavy. One evening, nearly a year later, Emma received a message that simply said, "I think we need to talk." Her hands trembled as she called him. Daniel looked tired on the screen. The world behind him was unfamiliar. "I've changed," he said quietly. Emma felt the words like cold water. "We both have. I don't know if I'm the same person you fell in love with." Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to cry. "Are you saying you don't love me anymore?" Daniel didn't answer immediately. That silence was the answer. They ended the call with kind words, promises to remain friends, and the painful politeness people use when love is slipping away. After that, Emma stopped writing. Months passed, then years. And now she sat in the cafe again, watching the rain. Her life had changed too. She had finally started writing seriously. Her first novel had even been published a few months ago. But some memories never fully fade. As Emma prepared to leave the cafe, the door opened and someone stepped inside, shaking rain from their coat. She froze. Daniel stood there. For a moment neither of them spoke. He looked older, a little more tired, but his eyes were the same. "Emma," he said softly. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear herself think. "What are you doing here?" "I came back to Larkspur last week." She waited. "And?" she asked. Daniel reached into his bag and pulled out an old photograph. The one he had taken the night they met. "I've traveled across 30 countries," he said. "I've seen incredible places. But this photo has always been my favorite." Emma felt tears rising again. "Why?" "Because it reminds me of the moment my life truly began." The cafe was quiet except for the rain tapping against the windows. "I made a mistake," Daniel continued. "I thought chasing the world meant leaving everything behind. But some people are the world." Emma looked down at the photograph. 3 years ago she had looked fearless. Now she felt something even stronger. She met his eyes. "You broke my heart." "I know." Silence stretched between them. Then Emma took a slow breath. "Healing it won't be easy." Daniel nodded. "I'm not asking for easy." For the first time since he walked in, Emma allowed herself a small smile. Outside, the rain finally began to slow. And sometimes, even after the longest storms, the sky finds a way to clear.